Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at artificial intelligence. It's obviously this huge technological wave, right? Full of potential, but also, well, raising some pretty big questions.
Definitely. And a key idea to start with, something Marynes Pereira really highlights in her work, like the piece Intelligentsia Artificial e o Futuro,
Right.
is that AI isn't separate from us. It's, deeply tied to our own human story.
Exactly. So our mission here is to really dig into that, our responsibility in steering AI. We'll be drawing a lot from Pereira's insights.
Because it's not set in stone, is it, the future path of AI?
Not at all. It's down to the choices we make, the actions we take now.
And it's interesting how history gives us context here, even before diving deep into Pereira's specific points.
Oh, so?
Well, think about the big shifts. Fire, the wheel, printing, nuclear power. They all brought massive change. Progress, yes, but also new kinds of risks.
That's a great point. Pereira touches on that too, doesn't she? Mentioning fallen civilizations like the Mayans or even myths like Atlantis.
Exactly. The stories might vary, but you often find these common threads. Decisions about resources, conflict, maybe a bit of hubris.
It's a pattern. Powerful tools, fallible humans.
Yeah. And Pereira emphasizes that the tech itself usually isn't the inherent problem. It's more about the intent, the maturity of the people using it.
Okay, but AI feels different somehow.
It is, because AI can learn. It adapts. It might even operate autonomously down the line. That really changes the stakes.
So let's shift gears slightly. Pereira brings up our own brains in this, which I found fascinating. This neuroscience idea, homeostasis.
Right, homeostasis. Basically, our brains like stability. They try to conserve energy.
Which means we naturally resist big disruptive changes.
Often, yes. And Pereira links this to Rogers' adoption curve. How technology is spread.
The early adopters versus the majority who wait and see.
Precisely. You have that small group jumping in, but most people are slower, more cautious, maybe resistant.
And in slower times, maybe that caution was fine. But with AI moving so fast...
It could be a real problem. Pereira warns about this potential for relative dumbing down.
What does she mean by that?
Well, if AI capabilities just keep accelerating exponentially and we don't actively cultivate our own critical thinking, adaptability, ethical awareness, we risk falling behind.
So just coasting along mentally isn't really an option anymore.
Not according to Pereira. Complacency is dangerous here.
And these aren't just academic worries, are there? Pereira points to warnings from people inside the tech world. Eric Schmidt, for example.
Yeah, former head of Google's parent company, Alphabet. Schmidt talks about artificial general intelligence, AGI, AI that's as smart as humans, maybe smarter, potentially being just years away.
Years, wow.
And then possibly quite soon after that, ASI, superintelligence, vastly beyond human intellect.
Hearing that from someone like Schmidt, it makes you pause.
It does. Pereira highlights his concern about recursive self-improvement, the idea that these systems could learn to learn better, plan better, maybe operate totally independently.
So it moves beyond just following instructions.
Potentially, yes. And Pereira stresses, this isn't just sci-fi anymore. It's a serious discussion happening at the highest levels.
Which brings us to the immediate threat Pereira identifies. It's not necessarily conscious AI going rogue, is it?
No, not primarily. The bigger, more present danger she points to is AI wielded by people with bad intentions. Unethical actors, people in power, psychopaths in power, as she puts it starkly.
Using AI for what kinds of things?
Mass surveillance, spreading disinformation on an industrial scale, autonomous weapons systems, tighten the grip of authoritarian regimes. The potential for misuse is enormous.
That's chilling. Pereira also warns about an AI arms race, doesn't she?
Yes, driven by greed, competition.
Yeah.
Where safety and ethics just get sidelined in the rush to be first, to be dominant.
And the scale of destruction, if AI were used in conflict or for totalitarian control, it's hard to even imagine. Different from past catastrophes.
Utterly different. The combination of scale, speed, and deliberate intent is what makes it so terrifying.
Okay, so faced with these risks, it's easy to feel, well, pretty negative about it all. But Pereira introduces another perspective here from Peter Diamandis.
Right. Diamandis talks about the danger of the stories we tell ourselves, especially the dystopian ones.
Like Black Mirror or Terminator.
Exactly. Pereira notes Diamandis pointing out how dystopian films have actually doubled recently. And we all know negative headlines get more clicks.
So we're constantly feeding ourselves these fear-based narratives.
We are. And Diamandis' argument, as Pereira explains it, is that this isn't just entertainment. It actually shapes our collective mindset. It programs us for fear, for disaster.
He has that quote, right? The future we imagine is the future we create.
That's the one. It's powerful. If we constantly focus on the negative potential, we might subconsciously steer things that way.
How so?
Well, Pereira explains, if we believe a bad outcome is inevitable, we might become paralyzed by fear, or we might react rashly, making poor decisions that actually help bring about the very future we dread.
So what's the alternative? Blind optimism.
Not blind optimism, no, but realistic hope. Pereira, echoing Diamandis, argues we need a positive vision for how humans and AI can evolve together.
Okay, so what does that look like? What are the practical steps? Pereira mentions some of Diamandis' ideas.
Yeah, things like creating an X-ray for optimistic media. Basically, incentivizing positive, science-grounded stories about the future.
Using rewards to encourage better narratives. I like that.
And maybe a media abundance index, tracking the balance of positive versus negative stories, making it visible.
Bringing awareness to the kind of narratives being pushed.
Exactly. Plus, investing in what they call exponential narratives, stories showing AI tackling huge global problems. Climate change, disease, poverty.
And using AI itself to help create these hopeful stories.
That too. But it's not just about big media initiatives. Pereira stresses our individual roles.
What can we do?
First, education, getting AI literate. Not becoming coding experts, but understanding the basics, the potential, the risks. Being informed citizens.
So we can actually participate in the conversation meaningfully.
Right. And cultivating critical thinking. Questioning those doom and gloom narratives. Asking, where's this coming from? Is there another side to this?
And advocating for responsible AI development.
Absolutely. Pushing for transparency, fairness, safety, making sure AI aligns with human values. That means robust governance, sensible regulation.
It sounds like collaboration is key too.
Hugely important. Across disciplines, across borders, AI is a global challenge, needs a global collaborative response. Pereira emphasizes that.
And what about on a personal level, our own consumption of information?
Yeah, taking responsibility for what we led to our minds. Actively seeking out positive, constructive stories. Sort of programming ourselves for a better outlook.
And fighting complacency, not just tuning out because it feels too big.
Definitely not. Staying engaged, learning, adapting. Because, as Pereira powerfully puts it, the future isn't just happening to us. We're making it right now with our choices.
She brings it back to the big picture, doesn't she? Our history of great achievements and, well, terrible mistakes.
Yes, acknowledging both sides of that coin. And she quotes Diamandis again on this idea of a planetary brain.
The potential of billions of connected minds amplified by AI, maybe by 2030.
That's the vision. Unprecedented potential for collaboration for solving problems we couldn't tackle before.
So the risks are real. We can't ignore them.
Absolutely not. They need serious attention.
But fear shouldn't paralyze us.
No. According to Pereira and Diamandis, we need proactive, hope-driven action, like Diamandis' call for a modern Star Trek moment.
A commitment to using intelligence, ours, and AIs to build a better future.
Exactly. A future where technology serves humanity's best interests.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, drawing on Marynes Pereira's work, particularly Intelligentsia Artificial Eo Futuro, the main takeaway feels crystal clear.
Which is?
That AI's future isn't predetermined. It's not just unfolding. We are actively shaping it right now.
Every action, every piece of code, every policy discussion, every story we choose to believe or tell, it all contributes.
Yeah. This very moment is the crucial time, as Pereira emphasizes. Time for conscious choices, responsible action.
It's a huge responsibility, but also a massive opportunity.
To steer this incredible technology towards a positive outcome, the choice and the work is ours. And again, our thanks to Marynes Pereira for her valuable insights.